Yo.
What's up?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, just making sure you guys can hear me. Because
Okay.
like Josh and Parker are just staring at me, and I don't know who iPhone is. I'm assuming that's Cam. I don't know.
Yeah, that's me.
All right. Riley. Thought I saw Riley's iPhone. What's up, buddy?
What up?
Last week, what happened?
I missed it. I was at the Y.
Doing Y stuff?
Yeah, I was pumping.
Okay.
Pumping heavy.
Come on, big trips down there, yeah. Really?
What's a swinger? Is that a parent? Hey, just so you guys know how this is gonna work is I have a bunch of questions and I've already sent them to the coach just so he has an idea what to expect. When I'm done talking to him about everything that I'm gonna talk to him about, if you guys have any questions at all, go ahead and feel free to ask those questions at that time. So, but I do ask that you keep your stuff muted because I don't want to hear any background noise while the guy's talking. Because these are being recorded, and I do plan on letting others view these videos outside of this team at some point. Because I think the information that we're getting and that we're learning is extremely important. With me being a parent and getting to this point and a coach, honestly, I'm learning right along with you guys here as to what we need to do to get you guys the best chance to get to the next level if that's what you want to do. So it's going to be a journey together, and I think that with talking to these kinds of people that we're talking to on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, I think it's gonna help you guys a ton. It's gonna help me a ton too, to be honest with you guys. So, and we should be on in a minute. I think Luke's having problems getting on again. Hey Luke, how you doing, buddy?
Good.
I'm gonna mute you. Hey Coach, how are you?
Good, how about you?
Good. I'm JR, Schoonover, and the rest of the guys that are on here are guys that are on the team, and I think there's a couple of parents that jumped in too. So
Okay.
they were out. Everyone was kind of interested to hear what you have to say. We've been kind of going on this journey. I know that I talked to you already about Pat and how I've had Pat Arndt on, and you and I are on the same page with him. I think he's a great kid, great young man. And, when I've had another player on talking to these guys, and I've been trying to bring people on to, just kind of better equip them, like know what to expect, what they need to do to get to the next level. Because, I'm a parent and a coach, and like I was telling them, I'm going through this journey with them, because there's things that, I think that we're supposed to do. I'm not entirely sure. So I'm just gonna, we're trying to get these guys to where I think they would have the best chance for success. So I know that there's some
Sure.
kids in here that do want to play college baseball, and there's some that maybe don't, and that's okay too. So
Absolutely.
with that, could you just kind of introduce yourself to everybody?
Sure. My name's Sean Repay. I am currently the head baseball coach at Dawson Community College in Glendive, Montana. I can give you a little bit of background about myself. I actually am a Highland, Indiana native originally. I graduated from Highland High School in 2004. Played all 4 years at Highland, and we were a pretty good program back there. And I don't know if we have any Highland or near Highland residents, members of your team at all, but I'm very familiar with the Crown Point area, Andrean, Lake Central. Obviously, I'm familiar with all those programs. I have a lot of buddies of mine that now coach within the region too. So I'm very familiar with, with region baseball still. And, I love coming back to the region. I actually have a region player on my team right now. His name is Matthew Benton. He's a freshman from Hobart.
Oh, nice.
So, I like to still go into the region and sign some players, even to come out into Montana. But I played at Highland High School from 2000 to 2004. I was under Dan Miller at that time, so Coach Bogner is the head coach there now. Coach Bogner was my assistant coach when I was at Highland. Had a really good career at Highland. I believe I was honorable mention All-State my junior year and All-State my senior year out of Highland High School. I went and I decided to play at a Division III school, Loras College in Dubuque, Iowa. I played 4 years there at Loras. We got to win a conference championship my junior and senior year. It was a lot of fun to kind of be a part of a rebranding of a program. And out of there, I went and I kind of joined the real world for about 2 months. Out of college, I decided to go, and I was a general manager of a fitness club in the Chicagoland area, and I was making some okay money. And a buddy of mine said, hey Sean, there's an open indie ball tryout in the Chicago area. There's supposed to be like 75 indie ball teams back when indie ball was huge, and it's kind of disintegrated now. But I went to this indie ball tryout and threw, and I was offered a contract to go play professionally for a team in El Paso, Texas. And it was between staying and working and making good money, or going into professional baseball and not making good money. And I chose to take the leap of faith and go start my pro playing career. From there, I pitched 1 year in El Paso. The following year, I played for the Lake County Fielders up in Lake County, Illinois, which was they were not in existence for very long. It was actually owned by Kevin Costner, and it was kind of a cool little situation up there for a little bit. Then I went and played for the Toronto Blue Jays organization. I was in minor league camp and released. And, after then I went and played for the McAllen Thunder down in Texas. So I spent 2 of my seasons down in the state of Texas. After that, I kind of just decided it was time for me to, kind of hang it up a little bit. And, I spent about, I don't even think it was a month out of when I stopped playing. I just kind of knew that I couldn't not be involved in baseball. Like, it was in my bones and in my body, and I couldn't be away from the game. And, my way of getting back in was coaching. I always thought that was something I wanted to do, because I was giving lessons in the past. And I coached during my college days. I was coaching for the Crown Point American Legion team at the time. And, I coached for Hebron High School a little bit. And, I've kind of dabbled in all that stuff, and I was giving pitching lessons and everything during my pro career. And it was something I was always passionate about doing. I loved seeing kids succeed, and being a part of that process was awesome for me. So At the time I looked at my family and my wife, and I was like, hey, I can't be out of baseball. I got to get in. So I ended up taking a job at a top 25 Division II school in New York as a pitching coach, fresh out of the gate. So, I believe that was in, my years are really back ended here, but it's been a while because I'm in my 10th year now of coaching. So, I was there for a season, decided to go off, and I took a job at a top 25 NAIA program in Southern California. So I went coast to coast in 2 years. College coaching, you don't make much money. So, I was making little to nothing my first job, and I was making a little bit more than nothing my second one. And, after that second year, when I was in California, I was at a school called University of Antelope Valley. And, when I left there, I went to Lakeland University in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. So I went back to the Midwest, and it was a great move for me and my family and, my wife and kids, and, to be back in the Midwest again. I spent 4 years there. I was the associate head coach and recruiting coordinator there. Kind of helped, jumpstart things and kind of revitalize a roster that was a little depleted. And, after that point, I ended up leaving there and going and taking a job. And I was an assistant coach and pitching coach for Indiana University Southeast down in Southern Indiana. We won conference that year. It was an awesome season. I got to coach with one of my mentors. I learned so much about, becoming a head coach and growing, and, just so much more than I ever expected in that one season. From there, I moved on, and I was an assistant coach. I was a pitching coach at the University of Toledo. So I went and coached under Rob Reinstedt last year. That's where I was. And I had a great experience there. It taught me so much about, the Division I part of the game and recruiting and, kind of just how it operates. Everything's on a bigger scale. It was a really good experience for me. And then obviously, this led me to here. I took the job here in mid-May. It's been such a great transition for me. Program's headed in a great direction, and I would love to talk more about that for anybody that's interested to hear about that as we go. But, good things are happening here, and I'm super proud to be surrounded by, such a great group of young men here. It's been awesome.
Yeah, I saw in your resume that I kind of did some light research on you. I just wanted to understand exactly, what your background was, and I saw that you coached in the Northwoods League.
Yep. And I forgot to mention that too. So I spent summers too. I spent 3 summers in pro ball too. So I managed a year professional baseball. I was a bullpen coach for the Gary Railcats for a year as well. And then I was a pitching coach for the Florence Freedom in the Frontier League for a season. From there, that's when I went to the Northwoods League, and I spent 3 years as a head coach out in the Northwoods.
Yeah, that's a lot within 10 years. So that's great.
Yeah.
I'm just looking, and I looked at your progression over the years, and like now you're a head coach. So it's well, now I would see for you, at some point you'll probably be moving on to a bigger school, hopefully, and getting a head coach position and something like that, and working your way up. So
yeah, absolutely.
Good for you, man. And that's why I coach too, not for the money, but obviously because I'm volunteer, but I do it because I love it, and I love the kids that I get to be around, and I like to see them, I love to see them progress and grow into a good young man and a great player too at the same time. So I guess, one of the things that I was told by some folks is, hey, you know what, probably around sophomore year, which is where we're at now, the kids should consider, or at least maybe go do a PBR camp. That's where and I'm sure are you familiar with the PBR camps?
Absolutely.
All right. So I guess my question to you is how important are those? Are those important at all? What's your opinion on that?
I think it's good. I don't think it'll hurt you at all. Personally, I've recruited even on my current roster right now. I signed some kids in the summer that were, directly on PBR or were state ranked in PBR and all that kind of stuff. It's good. They get publicity out there. I don't think it's the end all be all, because I think there's other methods to go about it too. I don't know if there's necessarily an exact right method to get your name out there, or just one, because there's many. I don't think that PBR is just the end all be all though. Same thing with Perfect Game. And,
right.
There's so many tools now for recruiting, and kind of virtually is slowly becoming the way to go, which is way the opposite of back when I played. So I'm trying to get used to that too, and just kind of transitioning towards, watching a lot of film and then trying to go see a guy in person. And it's kind of a backwards way now, but I think it's good. I mean, I don't think it'll hurt you, but you just also have to be weary too of, super large camps or, invite camps. And I mean, it kind of depends on also what level you're looking to play at. I mean, I think that that's super important too. I mean, I know at the Division I level, those rankings and PBR events, they're pretty important. Same thing with perfect game. I mean, it depends on what caliber of a kid you think you are. I mean, I think that that's, going to events and getting video for yourself is very good too. Honestly, the more video and the more film that you have on yourself, it makes for a good, you need a good highlight reel. You really do. I mean, and it just be short and sweet, but it gets the point. And those services provide that.
Okay. Yeah. And I was telling some of the kids too, and some of the parents that, this season, even during the games, they should be filming their kids, batting or whatever, just so the way you have something to be able to show somebody at some point.
Yeah.
So obviously we're a travel baseball team. Back when you played baseball, I'm not sure how popular travel baseball was. Did you play travel baseball, and do you think it's an important part of a player's development?
I mean, I did not when I played Legion baseball.
Right.
And back then Legion was a lot more popular than it probably is right now. As a matter of fact, I don't even know how many Legion teams are still alive in Northwest Indiana, to be honest with you. But, Legion baseball was kind of where it was at when I played. And then same thing in town, it was the Seminoles and the Chiefs at the time, and they were based out of Hammond. And those were kind of the premier elite travel teams. So, I mean, I would say that travel ball is important. I mean, it's a good tool. I think that being a part of a good organization that develops you is vital, because at the end of the day, I mean, I had a discussion with a bunch of head coaches of mine at my institution. We have weekly head coaches meetings, and we go over things about personal growth as coaches. I think the most important thing that in my sport, I tell them all the time is, I don't know with AAU, you go to the wrong organization and all they really care about is like, oh man, we're going to go win a trophy this weekend, or we're going to go win a ring. Or if that's all it's about is that chase, and it's not about personal growth or development on the field, that would be an issue to me. I mean, I think that that's where some travel ball organizations get lost. It's just all about, the end result of the game, and not necessarily about the individual's development, and, whether that's on the field or off the field. I think that travel ball plays a vital organization, or a vital, part in a kid's path. I mean, I think it's important. So, I mean, for me, when I do research into recruits, I want to see who they played for. I mean, and if I'm aware of that organization, if they do a good job of prepping kids for college, regardless if he's the best player available or skill-wise on the planet, I would take some of those kids just because I know they're coming from a good place and that they've been developed on and off the field.
That's good. That's great. That's good to know. There's actually a coach over at Bethel College. I don't know if you've heard of that school. It's over in Mishawaka.
Yep.
And he's taken several kids from Crown Point High School simply based on what you're saying. He likes the way that they're developed, the way they're coached, he's taken several kids over the past few years because of that reason. So
yeah, absolutely.
I guess at what age or what grade should these guys start reaching out to college programs, and exactly how should they go about doing that?
I think once again it varies. I think that if you're just joining on in your senior year, you're kind of late to the party. And not that that's a bad thing, and it doesn't mean that you won't find a place to play or a good program to play in at all. I think especially nowadays with kind of the COVID era that we're playing in right now, rosters are jam-packed, especially at the 4-year level. I mean, for me, my turnovers every year. I mean, I lose at least half my roster every season. So it's easier for me to recruit. So, I mean, junior college is kind of the hot route to go right now because of it. But I would say in COVID era, if you're looking to go out of the gate to a 4-year program, the sooner the better. I mean, if you start putting feelers out there, and I think that if you're putting feelers out there to a Division III school or a D2, you know, as a sophomore, it might be too early, or an NAIA program as well, because, you know, a lot of these programs, they work about a year or two in advance. So, you know, with me recruiting at all these different levels, and I've coached at every level of college baseball and recruited at every level of college baseball. And our setup was always, you know, at the higher up levels with D2 and D1. I mean, D1, they'll start looking at you as a sophomore. So, I mean, they're going to start tracking your progress and all that kind of stuff, and they'll probably offer you as a junior. So, I mean, that's kind of that hierarchy there. And that's why if you're going and you're emailing Division I schools and getting feelers out for yourself, I think that that's a really good thing as a sophomore. You know, same thing if you're looking at some high-level D2 programs, I think that that's not a bad idea either. But then there's some like the Division III level. If you're a high academic kid and you want to go to a high academic Division III school, I'd probably wait until your junior year to put that feeler out. Because like for me right now, I mean, I'm still wrapping up my 2021 class. I'm still looking for 21s. So, I mean, I have talked with a couple 22s. So, I mean, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to start the 22s until the 21s are done. I mean, that's my main focus right now. Every program's different. But what I can tell you is it's not a bad thing to reach out as a sophomore programs, especially some really good ones. See if you get any type of contact from them. I mean, I don't think that, you know, you guys shooting your shot at some schools that you're really interested in, it's not a bad idea. The worst that can happen is either A, they don't respond, or B, they, you know, they just don't have the room, or that they're not interested. But you guys have to take that leap of faith regardless of whatever level it is if you're interested in a place, because you never know. I mean,
Right,
you don't.
So when you say send feelers out, what does that exactly mean? So what, we're sending messages to the coach on Twitter just saying, hey man, looking for a third baseman?
Yeah, I mean, I would honestly, I would say, hey, you know, coach, you know, my name is so-and-so, and, you know, I'm currently, whether I'm a sophomore or a junior, and it could be through Twitter, it could be through email. I think that both those are good methods. I mean, obviously, I think some of the bigger schools, they get flooded out by emails every day, and it's really hard to kind of get, you know, to stand out, but you still can. And I think it's just not being, my biggest piece of advice is when I'm looking at emails and stuff like that, if it's too long, it's probably going to drain out a coach. You know, if you're writing a book in your initial email, it's probably going to get passed up on. And that's just how I've always viewed it. And it's not necessarily what I believe in, but I know that's what others do. Video is good. You know, video in an email is really good. I mean, you don't have to flood it with 7, 8, you know, videos in the first email, but just an initial little highlight clip of what you're about, or post some stats in there too. Like, hey, you know, I played my freshman year. These are my freshman stats, or here's my summer ball stats. That's really good. It gets it's an attention grabber. But, you know, the things that we care about too is, you know, put in what kind of student you are. What's your current GPA? That's important, because even me at a junior college, I look for GPA. I mean, the biggest misconception at the junior college level is that we recruit kids that aren't great students. That's a false, at least in my program it is. It's very false. So, I mean, I recruit high-level students. So at the end of the day, if I see somebody has a 3.7 GPA, right then I'm hooked in, and I'm going to read more. You know, each school has things like that are musts, and you don't know who has what, but, you know, whether it's, you know, you put your measurables in there. You know, I'm 5'11", 170 pounds. I play middle infield, whatever it is. You know, I bat right-handed, I bat left-handed. You know, here's my exit velo. You know, whatever it is, if you put those numbers in and somebody's really looking for something like that, then you have them hooked. Then they watch your video, and then you never know what can happen. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think putting all of those things in an initial email, but not overboard, where it's, you know, hey, coach, really want to be a part of your program. Here's, you know, 7 paragraphs about me, because I think that that's where it's going to get lost. But if you just have a little brief introduction about yourself and, you know, what you're capable of, some measurables, and a short video clip, I think those are all attention grabbers. It's just like when you're writing a paper for school. You know, that first paragraph sets the tone. You know, it does. It sets a tone of an attention grabber for the teacher. So, I mean, I tell my players that when you're writing a paper, that first paragraph sets the tone for the rest of your paper. I mean, it really does. So it's the same way with recruiting emails or messages.
Nice. Okay. That's good to know. So as far as, like, I guess for junior college, you guys, I guess my specific question is, are you guys all looking for the same type of player? You know, someone who's 6'2", got an exit velo in this range. It's got a a throwing velocity in this range. Has a speed that's in this range. What are there any I guess parameters that they're looking for like an atypical player?
I think every program is different.
Yeah.
For me, I love the developmental chase of my program. So if I take a kid that's not quite there yet, I will. I mean, if it's a kid that's toolsy and has some skill and ability, but maybe doesn't throw the hardest, I don't care about size. Honest to God, you could be 5'4", and if you can swing it and pick it in the field, I'm taking you. I don't really care what size you are. And same thing on the mound. It's irrelevant to me. I mean, I've seen some of my favorite baseball players I've ever coached in my career have been guys that have been undersized. I mean, they get after it. So, I mean, it really doesn't, for me at least. Now, at my level, sure. I'm sure there's, JUCOs out there that, want the guys that are, 6'5", that throw, 90 to 93 on the mound and, are going to be shoo-ins to go play Division I baseball. I can take a kid that is undersized and maybe a little underdeveloped at the time and get him into our program here, develop them, and push them out to a program like that because they want it. I mean, the intangibles are kind of what I look for with how I recruit. It really doesn't matter, what size you are, how hard you throw, how fast you are. I mean, everybody's different, but I just know how I approach it. And like I said, because I love being hands-on in the developmental aspect of baseball, for me, I look for the intangibles. Like a kid that's just going to come to me every day and want to get extra work in. That kid, I will take 100 of them. There's not enough. And I mean, I have a lot of them here. I mean, we have a 54-man roster at a junior college right now.
Wow.
And all 54 of my players they're grinders. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, we have literally the most diverse team in the entire country, I promise. But I mean, they come from all backgrounds, cultures, countries, and they get after it. I mean, we have some really good baseball players that are undersized. So guys that are undersized right now, don't fret on that. I mean, if you hold on to that and you just think you don't have a chance someplace, you never know who you're going to get attention to from a coach. Coaches love some of those guys. I mean, one of my favorite players on this team right now is 5'5". He's going to be my leadoff hitter this year. And he can run like the wind, but plays the game hard. I mean, if anybody in this chat knows who Craig Biggio is, he's my Craig Biggio of this team. Like, gets dirty, no complaints. He's going to bust it, and just is like the ultimate teammate. He just really is. Like, I will take guys like that all day and then, try to help them develop into something.
Yeah. So like for kids that end up going the junior college route, do a lot of them primarily go that route in order to end up trying to go somewhere else? Is that why you have such high turnover every year?
Yeah. I mean, you're here for 2 years. I mean, that's the max that you can be at a junior college. So, it's to bridge you. Junior college is a great place to develop. If you don't have the offers and stuff out of high school that you really want, this is a place you go. I mean, whether it's, hey, I want to, I'm only getting D2 offers or NAIA offers, and I want to go play Division I someday. Well, then go to a junior college that's going to develop you, both off the field too, because that's important. Make sure you're on your game in the classroom, and, then pushes you out to a really good school, or go someplace that has connections to do that. I mean, I do. I have a lot of connections to four-year programs, and I mean, right now, I probably have about 4 or 5 guys out of this class signed to a Division I scholarship out of here. And I'll probably have a draft pick or 2 this year. And, that's kind of how it'll work. But then I have a slew of other guys that are going to go D2 and NAIA and D3. But this is a bridge place for them to grow, off the field, on the field, and then go on to a school that fits their needs. Maybe they weren't recruited by him out of a high school.
So you said you had a 54-man roster. How does that work? Because there's
a lot of POs.
Only 8 positions on the field. And then obviously you need a pitching staff, but I mean, that's just insanely large.
Yep, it is. But you want to know what? Right now, given COVID as well. So I make this point to all my players, and they're awesome. I had 54 in the spring, and I have 54 right now. Not one soul is leaving this program. For me, the biggest thing is all my players need to be prepared to start. COVID throws a wrinkle into a lot of things. Right now, I have guys living together in groups of 6. So what can happen if, a house of 6 happens to be 6 of my starting position players? The guys on the bench got to be prepared to step up and play. And plus, I mean, I probably have 17, 18 guys that can swing it every day for us. We play 4 games on the weekend in conference play. I'm going to rotate all those hitters. They got to hit. I mean, they have to. They're good contributing players in this program. We have a couple guys here that are still kind of working through their developmental process and aren't quite ready yet. And then we got a whole bunch of POs. I mean, you need them. I mean, we play a 55-game season in a matter of no time. I mean, I'm not about hurting guys. I'm about keeping them healthy, especially when pushing them to a 4-year institution. At the end of the day, I mean, we had no injuries this fall because of this. I had 0 injuries in the entire roster. It kept everybody healthy, and everybody played every game. I mean, I played 54 guys in a weekend, and, everybody got a chance to show what they can do and, showcase themselves and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it gets hard. It gets hard playing that, that kind of that circle around game of in and out and flipping the roster all the time. But at the end of the day, this is what JUCO baseball is like. I mean, you come in here, you get your associate's degree, and after 2 years you leave, and then you go to a good 4-year school, and we help you out with that. I mean, at least in my program, I feel like it's my job. I mean, I get you all the attention from coaches, and then, at the end of the day, it's for you to pick which school best fits you. And we kind of sit down and we help you navigate through it.
Okay. So, a lot of these guys are going to be going into the JV section of their next phase of their career, and that there might be a couple guys on here that might play varsity just because they are that good and their schools are smaller, so it does provide that opportunity for them. I guess, what should these guys be focused on right now, in your opinion?
Having fun, man. Honest to God, baseball's fun. And at the end of the day, I know a lot of people that's on this call right now, like, you guys are going to be, oh man, I need to be a varsity player, and oh man, I need to do this. Like, be patient. Like, I always tell my players, like, be comfortable with being uncomfortable and be patiently impatient, if that makes sense. So, I mean, you could be patient with your process, but also impatient with it, which means you're not content with where you're at, but you want to continue to grow. But just enjoy where your feet are. I mean, if you're starting out the JV roster, I mean, that's where I started, and it'll blossom. Go play as hard as you can and have fun with it. I mean, in my program, even at the college level, I allow my players to have fun and be human beings. This is not something that I make it like it's work for them. I mean, they have to enjoy being around this every day and their surroundings and the people they surround themselves with. So you need to go have fun with this, because a lot of the times when you take next steps into certain levels, the joy gets sucked out of it. And you can't allow that to happen. You can't allow whether it's a situation or pressure or anything like that to suck the life out of what you're doing. Because baseball is the greatest thing in the world. I get the opportunity to make a living, if you want to call it that. I don't get paid a lot of money, but I get to have it as my 9-to-5 job, if you will. This is what I do. I mean, I do it pretty much every day, all day. It's what I do. And it's the best thing in the world. I wouldn't rather be doing anything else. So, I mean, for you guys get to play it. Like, enjoy this time in your life, and don't be, upset with yourself because you're not there yet. Like, you're going to get there. If you want to get there, you're going to get there. And, the guys that are on varsity, just, enjoy the moment. If you're young and you're on varsity, that's awesome. You should just kind of soak that in and not try to rush that process either. If you think you got to, step up and, be the man as a freshman or a sophomore in your really good varsity programs, like, don't rush that. You're putting too much pressure on yourself. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you need to enjoy it. Enjoy the ride, because high school baseball is great. It's fun. And, I mean, you just need to kind of sit back and reflect on the moment and live in it.
So I guess my next question is, if you had to go back and change anything over your career, I guess playing and coaching, would there be anything that you have changed for yourself or done differently?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't regret. I'm not a guy of regrets. No. I mean, I don't regret a thing. I mean, I went to a Division III school when I had offers to go to a Division I school, and I don't regret it. It's where I belonged. It's where I felt comfortable. It's where I got a good education, and I don't regret that at all.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody can wonder what if.
was talking to Pat about that, and it sounded like Pat made a lot of decisions based off of, what he could get from the school as far as, getting grants, or if he was getting his entire education paid for by the school through a what do you call it? But he,
A scholarship.
yeah, scholarship. So, he made a lot of decisions, it seemed to me, based off of that. And, it seemed to work out well for him because,
Yeah.
I mean, God forbid you finish school with a mountain of debt and baseball career didn't work out the way you had hoped.
Well, I mean, I finished school with a mountain of debt. So, I mean, I went to a private D3 school, so I did finish with a mountain of debt, but I don't regret that. I mean, everybody can always look at it, and for me, it's not about, like, you can always say, oh, man, the money. I mean, I don't really put a price tag on that experience. Me going to a small private school, it helped me prepare me to be the person I am. It busted me out of my shell, actually. I used to be a super big introvert. And I used to like not talk to people when I entered college, and it made me just so comfortable in that environment. So, I mean, it kind of helped blossom me into what I am right now. So I'm very grateful for that experience, and I don't regret anything.
It said in the one of the articles I read about you, it said that you had coached around 80 players or so that have moved on to play professionally. I'm sure that they've gone on to the minors at least.
Yep.
Was there any coach or player that you coached that is going on to play in the major leagues at this point?
Yeah, I have one right now. His name's Matt Festa. He's currently rehabbing from Tommy John surgery, but should be entering his third season with the Seattle Mariners.
Nice.
So I coached him. That was my first college coaching job. I was his pitching coach, and here's the thing, guys, is Matt, and Matt will tell you this right now, is back when he was 18, 19 years old, he was not a big league prospect. Not a shot. And then here he is. He got drafted in the 7th round by the Mariners out of college. He went to a D2. I mean, anything is possible, guys. I mean, it really is. I mean, he made it because of his drive. It wasn't anything to do with, he didn't just roll off a bus and just magically, somebody sprinkled some pixie dust on him and he became really good. He was an awesome kid, and he was a hard worker, and he's pitching in the big leagues. I mean, it can happen. It really can. So, I mean, that's been the first guy. I've had a lot of guys make it to AAA and, not quite get over that hump. And, I got some guys right now that are in AA ball, and we'll see what happens with them. It kind of stinks with minor leagues kind of getting consolidated right now, and guys are losing their jobs, and hopefully my guys still get that shot.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you about what is it that you probably could identify about the players that have gone as far as they have, or as good as they are. What is that one defining quality? And I'm seeing it as well as it's got to be drive more than anything. It's got to be.
Yeah. I mean, guys, you can have all the skill in the world, and I've coached players. Even when I coached in pro ball, I coached players that had all the talent in the world. Okay, so when I was with the Railcats, I coached a lot of guys that had just a boatload of talent, but they just didn't have the drive, right? They didn't have the work ethic. Those are intangibles. The intangibles are what separate everybody. So the intangibles are what separates a big leaguer from a guy in AAA, or a big leaguer from a guy in AA, or a guy in AAA from AA. It's the intangibles. It literally is. I mean, you have to tell yourself yes when everybody else is telling you no. That's how it's going to happen. Because there's, in my book, and I tell my players this all the time, there's only one person's no that matters, and it's yourself. Like, if you tell yourself no, that you're not capable of doing something, and this is bigger than just playing in professional baseball, it's in life, or at a job, or playing college baseball, or whatever it is that you want to do. If you tell yourself no, it's over for you. It is, if that's already a thought in your head. But if you believe yes, and you're going to prove yourself that you're right, you can make it happen. Yeah,
and that's something we talked about a couple of weeks ago. I had gone through, why we were setting goals for certain things, and how we, what measurables we thought we needed to meet. And then, two of the things that I identified was one, faith in yourself, And number two, what's worked for me is obviously faith, also in God. So I guess my question to you now is, are you a Christian? Are you a religious person? And has that had any impact on your playing career or coaching career at this point?
Yeah, I actually, I really feel like I've started to become more in touch with my faith about, I would say, 5 years ago. I was kind of lost with that for a very long time, throughout my youth. And, I kind of, when I took the job actually in the Northwoods League, I got connected with a chaplaincy program there. And it really kind of opened up my eyes, and it was non-denominational Christian. And it kind of just, it tied life in this game of baseball, and, you're walking your faith all together. It was beautiful. And it's something I opened up the chaplaincy program to happen every day in my locker room before a game. And, whether it was a senior chaplain or if it was a youth, would walk in and share every day. And it was such a good outreach for my players and myself, because it's really when I started to open up and start a walk with my faith. And I'm forever grateful for those people. And they're still really good, near and dear to my heart. I think that you tying your faith into what you do, it helps you be consistent, first of all, because it reminds you just what really is important in life. Because at the end of the day, baseball's irrelevant. It really is. Baseball is just something we get to do. Okay. But for me, how I tie my faith into my job is, yes, I love winning. Nobody's going to be happier this year if my guys win a conference championship than me, trust me. But at the end of the day, what makes me happier is knowing that I can help guide my players in the right direction, or at least what I feel is a good direction. And that's off the field. I need to make sure that my players have a mentor in life. I don't want them to walk off out of this program and not be in good shape, whether that's in the classroom or off the field. Or I don't want anybody on my team. And we have a strict policy with no drugs and alcohol. I'm trying to keep my guys on a straight path. I have to walk that path though. So when I'm basically preaching to these guys, hey, tie your faith in, and we will have every day before a game, we're going to have a chaplaincy program here. And that's something that I've tied in. We're not a private school. I'm a public institution here. So, this is going to be by choice for my players. But I think that if anything, my faith and my journey through this has really opened up my eyes just how vital my job is for my athletes, whether they're 18 to 22 or 18 to 20 right now. This is such an important part of their life. And I need to be there for them more than just baseball. I have a lot of Latin American players in my program right now that don't speak very good English, but I understand Spanish and can speak it with them, so it helps. But a lot of them come from families, broken homes that don't have dads around, or, whatever it is. They call me dad. We have 7 Latins that call me dad on this program. That's why I do what I do, is to build relationships. And that's something that I really didn't grasp the concept of that before my faith journey. It's just the honest truth. Before, everybody wants to take a look at results, and they want to talk about, how good of a player you were, how good of a coach you were. And then I realized just how unimportant all that stuff was. It really is. You have to love people, and you have to love on people and care about them and help them in their walk. And that doesn't mean that everybody has to believe in the same faith that, have the same faith in, or believe in the same God that you do, or anything like that. Because I respect everybody's religious beliefs and everybody's cultures. And like I said, I have 5 different countries that are represented in my program. Everybody believes in different stuff here, but at the end of the day, I need to be a part of their walk. And in order to do that, I really need to be in tune with what I believe and my vision for myself. So, at the end of the day, you have to be very comfortable with that. And that's something in my position that I've grown comfortable over the years.
Okay. Was there any, did you want to talk about your school or your program anymore? Tell it a little bit.
For anybody that, is interested in very tiny town. Obviously I know Northwest Indiana has a lot of stuff. There's going to be no Chick-fil-A or anything like that in town here. So But at the end of the day, it's tiny. This place is awesome. It's kind of tucked away in the middle of the mountains. We're in the Badlands section of the mountains here in Montana. The town only has about 4,500 people in it. Everybody knows everybody. But the town is super supportive of this program. The program itself, I mean, like I said, I've only been here for about 5.5 months. But when I took the job, there was only 12 players returning, and there was no 2020 signed. So I went out and I signed 42 players in 2 months before school started. And I guess the only good thing to come out of COVID was there were so many good unsigned players left, and I was able to go out and get some really good players and good kids. I mean, this is the easiest team I've ever had to coach in my life, and it's just natural. It's a natural thing, but I expect us to compete. But for me on the field, we're super competitive. I expect us to win a championship this year because we have the talent in place, and I expect that to kind of be a constant. But off the field, I mean, we have high expectations in terms of in the classroom and off the field. We volunteer a lot. I mean, I have a minimum of 10 volunteer hours a semester here. So I mean, our guys volunteer and get in the community a lot. I mean, we got to give back. I mean, at the end of the day, a community that's so supportive of us, we need to be supportive of them. Same thing within the classroom. I mean, I want our team to have a 3-3 as a team here. I think we're well on our way to doing that in this first semester, which is awesome. But I mean, I have study hall obligations. So, I mean, my players got to hit 4 hours of study hall a week here. We do grade reports every 2 weeks just to make sure academic progress is on track here. And then I also get them together too and just ask them about their personal life, make sure they're in a good place, or if they need any help with anything, or if they're homesick or whatever it is. But I mean, at the end of the day, I guess, outside of my program, the best piece of advice I could give for everybody that's in this chat in terms of the recruiting process is, one, don't stress about it. I truly believe that there is a place for everybody. If you want to play college baseball, there is a program for you. You have to go find it. Like, you have to find your fit. And I mean, I tell my recruits that when I'm talking to a kid, and it's, yes, I mean, I'm recruiting them, but they're recruiting me. And I have to understand that my place might not be a fit for everybody, because it isn't. And at the end of the day, I mean, there's a place for you. Okay. And you need to be patient about that. But my biggest piece of advice outside of that I could give you is go someplace that's going to invest in the whole you. Okay. Go someplace that's going to invest you off the field. Okay. As a person, going to have a relationship with you, and you're not just a number to them or another body. Like, go someplace that's truly going to invest in you. I mean, I did. I provide that for my players here, and there's a lot of other good programs out there that do. And I would suggest that if that's what you value, is that one-on-one personal feel and relationship, go someplace there. And then go someplace that's going to develop you, that's going to get in the trenches with you and work hard. I mean, I think that all those things are vital. So, I mean, outside of my program, I could talk about my program for days. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know how many in this room are going to be like, hey, man, I really want to go out in the middle of Montana. I mean, hey, maybe I do. Maybe there's going to be somebody in this chat right now that wants to. And I would love to talk with you because I love region players. But at the end of the day, it's about you and your journey through this process. Just be patient and have fun with it. Don't stress. I got sophomores right here right now that are stressing out about it, and they don't need to. Like, just kind of sit back and enjoy it too.
Do any of you guys have any questions for Coach Sean? Parents, kids, anyone?
I actually have a question.
There you go.
All right, so like, how do you expand yourself to different colleges? Is it just a matter of just emailing different coaches?
Yeah, I mean, I would say if it also depends on what you're looking for too. I mean, if you're a kid that's like, hey man, I want to stay close to home, well then what your options are. But if you're truly open-minded and you want to go anywhere, I tell my players this even in junior college right now. We're trying to find all my sophomores fits in 4-year homes. So I give them kind of a priority list. I ask them what's important to them. What's the top thing? What's your top priority when you're looking for a school? And if one of my players says academics, okay, well, then we can go down the list of the schools that have reached out to them and then try to start, chopping away at those. And if some of those don't meet academic requirements that they're looking for, then we got to get rid of them. We create a priority list for yourself. And schools that truly meet that priority list, I would go email them. I mean, regardless if you are open-minded to anything, if they're out in California or Hawaii or Maine or wherever, I mean, go research. There's so many good programs and then good academic institutions all over the country. And they're not just in our backyard. I mean, so at the end of the day, if you're looking to stay in your backyard, then you know what your options are there too. So I think that just making a priority list for yourself and then reaching out to schools that fit those needs for you. I mean, I think that's super important because there's so many kids that might be, I get emails sometimes that are like, Coach, I'm interested. I mean, I can't say engineering because we actually are one of the few junior colleges in the country that offer engineering focus, but like whether it's nursing, we don't have a nursing program here. So, I mean, if I get an email that says that, I'm like, we don't have that here. So, I mean, I can't meet one of your needs. And I don't, if that's truly what you want to do, then you don't want to kind of deviate outside of that because it's important to you. If that's truly what the path that you want to go with, then you got to find those places that fit your needs. So make a priority list. That's something I strongly suggest too. I mean, I'm doing it with my players here, and these are guys that have already played 2 years of college baseball. So, I mean, for you guys, start figuring out what matters most to you in a college experience.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? All right, I guess that's it, Coach.
Okay.
All right, I appreciate your time. If you have any other coaches or players that you would recommend to me at some point that might be interested in doing something like this or could be helpful to us, I'd appreciate it. You can just shoot me an email
Sure.
if you want. No, we really, really, really appreciate this. Thank you so much for all your help.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And guys, good luck to you guys. Enjoy your seasons. Hopefully we get to play on this spring. Let me know if you have any questions. You guys anybody in this chat is always welcome to shoot me an email if you guys have any questions as well about anything. And if I can ever be of any help, I love the region a great deal. I miss it. And, who knows, maybe I'll be coming out there sometime to watch some baseball.
Yeah, I'll pass out Coach's email to everybody after this. So thank you, Coach.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
All right, take care.
You too.